Hi, tonight we're going to make a slimline card using something from the Sale-a-bration catalog. We're going to use the Counting Sheep Cling Stamp Set, which you can get for free with a $50 purchase from any active catalog. And then we're also going to use the sheep dies, which you can also get free with a $50 purchase from any active catalog. And we're going to make the field of grass using Granny Apple Green Cardstock for the background. And then we didn't come up with a sentiment that was with the stamp set, so we're designing our own, and I'll show you how we did that. Hi, I'm Joan and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I created this video for Joan Simple Papercrafts found right here on YouTube. If you're new here, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning guest, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. That way you won't miss when I post a video. Now, give me a second to turn the camera down so we can get started. Here's the Counting Sheep stamp set. Isn't it cute? Now I'm not going to put it together as you would expect. I'm going to put it together for those people that didn't quite fit in. I'm so proud to be unique, and you're amazing. And I think that this is one great card. The only thing is, I didn't have the stamp sentiment anywhere that said so proud to be. So I had to come up with my own. And I used a great grandkid, the so proud of you, and I blocked this off. And then from our shaded summer, I used the some friendships are just meant to be, the to be portion. So then I blocked the rest of that off. And I'll show you how to do that later on. So let me get this started. We're going to use black cardstock, cut at 8.5 by 7, and then it's scored at 3.5. So let me get that scored first. And I'm going to score it on both sides to get a nice crisp edge. Got a little glue there. So next we want to do is take our Granny Apple Green cardstock. And what I'm going to do on this one is I am going to stamp the grass on here with the Granny Apple Green stamp set. I should have had this open. And I'm just going to make it look like a field of grass. And I'm just going to do it through the whole card. And I'm trying not to rotate the stamp. If you roll it one way or another, it'll get ink on the outer edges, which I have already done. So I just need to make sure that I'm pressing straight up and down then, so I don't get any of those odd markings from the outer edges of the stamp. Move this a little bit here. And I set up my camera rig a little bit different today, so hopefully my head won't get inside the camera. Time will tell. So we're all done with that. So I'm just going to pull some of our cardstock here and just stamp off. And I'll clean that in just a few seconds. And I am going to close this for right now. Already got green on my finger. So then I'm going to turn this over and glue it down. And I'm using our glue that we have in the catalog. Let me get that for you. And let me also get my mat out. So this is our glue here, our multi-purpose glue. And this is our silicone mat. This mat helps protect my work surface from the glue. So if it happens to, if I glue outside the card, or if I slip some way, this protects the work surface from that glue. The glue won't stick on here. It will dry, but it will not stick. And then once it dries, you can just simply peel it off. And let's put the leaves, or the grass, with the card going upward. And I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch around the edge in the black. And it looks like I won't be able to stick my head in because I just bumped my head on the camera. And hopefully it didn't move everything out of whack. So let me just check. Yeah, you're still good. I'm going to move this up here a little bit so I don't forget where the center is for everybody, because it's angled a little bit different now. So there we go. Next we're going to use the white cardstock, and we will stamp with the green first. I shouldn't have cleaned my stamp set off. And again, I'm being very careful not to rotate this, because I don't want the ink around here. When you rock it, you get something like this. So we don't want that. So I'm going to close my ink pad. And I think I can clean this off now. And we'll do our scramp and scrub on both of these in just a second. So we need to stamp our You're Amazing. And we want to do that on the left center of the card. So I'm going to take the card from this point to this point and do it up here, the left center of the card. And so now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' scrub and clean these off. So we'll need to spray this because it's been sitting here since yesterday, so it's probably dry. And I'm using our Stampin' Mist, and I sprayed it on the left side because there's a raindrop up there, so that reminds me that that's the wet side, and then there's a sun on this side, so that reminds me that that's where you dry your stamps. So let me do this one first. And then we'll get the little one. We're done with those. We'll probably bring this back in. We have some more stamping to do. So we're going to go ahead and glue this in before we will do the sheep on the inside. So let's get this glued down first. And I like to use this little glue bottle because it does have that fine tip. I can get into some really tight places with that. And it doesn't quite give you as much glue, like glue globs, as often. So there's less to squeeze out of here when you put a card in. And we want to keep an 1/8 of an inch around on the borders. And I already set it down, so I got to kind of slide it. Let me just lift it up again. That looks a lot better. And I'm going to use my bone folder to squish the glue out from underneath. Gets all the air bubbles out. Make sure the entire paper is making contact. So that's good. Next we're going to want to do is do our black sheep. So to do him, we're going to do him in the Whisper White. And let me get this open. So we will stamp them with the Whisper White. And I'm just going to rub, make sure we get him down right. And then lift it straight up. And then next we'll want to clean our stamp off. And I probably should have waited until now, because otherwise I don't think I have anything to stamp right away. So I'll clean this off again. So now that we have that, what we want to do is we'll want to cut them out. So we've got our plate, and we're going to put them on here. And I just use the die. I don't put it in my template because this seems to be a really good die set. The stamp set and the die set match up really well. What I'll sometimes do is put a little tape down, this postage tape, and it covers up really well. It sticks pretty well, but it also releases really well. So I will just tape it down like this and run it through our rollers. And I've already done that. So here we go. We have him already done. So what we need next is we want to fussy cut him out. So we're going to cut off his legs. And his ears. But what I want to do is I want to take off his arms from inside of here. So I'm going to go on the outside of the white arm, or legs and arms, and then we'll stay on the outside of the white here, and then the outside of the white here. So I'm just turning my scissors, turning the paper, not the scissors. We've got 2, 3, and then we've got his ears we need to do yet. And a little one up here too. So we have that, and I'm just going to see how he lines up. Not too bad. So we'll want to cut this one out from here, but first I'm going to color all of those in. Let me get these shavings off from here. So how we're going to do this is we're going to use the light petal pink and the dark petal pink. And these are our Stampin' blends. They're an alcohol marker, and they work well with the Memento ink so that it doesn't smear. So I am going to just do the entire bottom foot, or the hooves. And then we'll do his ear as well. And his face. And on his face, I am just going to use the other end, the wide end tip. And I'm just going to lay it down. And I lay it down and so that and I should have done his hooves in the gray and have the legs be in the petal pink. So I'm going to go back over and do these in petal pink. So I laid it down because you don't want to do the tip all the time, because that will dull the edge and your marker won't last as long. So I'm just going to go back over this area around the very edges in the light, because I didn't take it all the way to the edge. Next we want to use our dark petal pink, and we'll put that up toward the very end, and I'm going to use the bullnose tip on that one to do it during the very top part of his leg. And then we can come back with his face. Then we'll come back with the light petal pink, and we'll use the bull's nose tip there as well, and just kind of blend it downward from the top where the dark is, and blend it into the light. And that'll kind of give the ombre effect there. And then I will just take our wide marker on the face portion. So we should be done with the petal pink now. Let me get that up here. Then we'll come back with our light gray granite, and we're going to do the hooves this time. And it seems to be covering up the petal pink just fine. I guess we didn't ruin anything that way. And then we're going to come in with our dark gray granite and just do the very tip of the hooves. Then we'll come back with the light gray granite, and we'll blend upward from the dark to the light. So what we need to do next is cut out this arm right here, because that's going to be glued onto this portion. And since this is going to be behind the dark, I'm not worried about where I cut into the sheet to get this done. And so I'm trying to just move the paper and not the scissors. I'm just going to take that a little bit past, because it's difficult to get that turn in there. And I'm continuing with moving the paper, and I am going to take my little tweezers here so that I've got a good grip on that. So that is our arm for the sheep. Now I could just go ahead and glue this right on here, but if I don't get it exact, you can see the white coming through. So I am going to use my Stampin' Right Basic Black to finish this off, the edges off, so that'll work just fine. And I'm actually going to use the broad tip, and I'm just going like right from the center part of the tip and doing the edges. And I'm trying not to get where we did the pink stuff, where his ears and his legs are. And I'm doing just a little bit of the top part, so get the side and then the very top border. And hopefully the rest will get covered by the paper, and I won't have to worry about that. So I'm going to glue this down next. And we'll just take great care to keep them inside the lines. Now you see there's white stuff there, so I am going to take that marker again and just touch that up. Ah, we were supposed to cut out his face. I forgot about that. Hopefully we can still get him off. Nope, he's done. So let me just finish cutting out his face here. So, in order to fix that, we're going to just stamp his face and we'll cut that out and we'll glue it on behind. Okay, I've got the head stamped out. Let's see if this is going to work. So I'm using the wide tip for the light petal pink to color his face. And then we'll go in with the dark, the bullnose tip. And we'll wait a few seconds because it helps to have the alcohol kind of dry before you go in with the next color. And then we'll try the light again to kind of get an ombre effect. And I'm just going to fussy cut his head. So we want to have the same amount of the cardstock around the white part of his head. And I think that's as much as I'm going to go. And then I think we can, let's see what it looks like. I think that's going to work. I'm going to cut this tip off here. And then we'll put glue on here. It's probably dried on me by now. Let me get my... Sometimes this fine needle nose tip dries out, so then I just have to poke it to get it open again. And let's get this back on here. That worked. All right. So that is done. So what we need to do is, I forgot we needed to stamp one of the sheep on here as well. So I'm going to take out a Memento ink. And I'm just going to rub it and then lift up straight. And let's get this topped off before we end up with our elbow in it. And I'm going to clean this off real quick. Okay, so then we need to color his arms and his legs with our markers. And we'll get his face done too. This is the dark, so I'm going to start with the light. Look at this. And get those tiny spots with a little marker. Then we've got our dark petal pink, and we'll do the very top of his arms and legs. And his ears and his head. We'll come back in with our light petal pink. And we're starting up in the dark, where we put the dark, and we're blending it down toward the light to give a more ombre effect. Then we'll do his feet with our gray granite. We'll start with the light. And then we will move on to the dark. And that's just going to be a little stroke at the end of his hooves. And then we'll come back with the light. And we're going from the gray, the dark gray, into the light gray. The inside of the card should be done now. So now we need to get the outside, and we're going to put this on with dimensionals, and we still need to put his arm on, so let's get our glue out here. And we will just stick him on. And then we'll put our dimensionals on the back. And I realized that my first card, I had the black sheep on the inside as well. So we'll come back and color him in just a second. And I'll leave that there. So what I'm going to use is the Stampin' Right marker, and it's a basic black. And I'm just going to use the small tip, just go around the edges. And we'll come in with the broad tip. And I'm just going to do strokes to kind of give it the fluffy feeling of the sheep's wool. So they're kind of like half circles. I don't know if you can notice on the camera, it's giving us a little bit of a gray and a darker spot in strokes that I'm doing here. So that's why I didn't want to just do straight lines. You'd be able to see that. And where I did do straight lines around the arm, I'm just doing some strokes around there now. So that'll help clean up those strokes, I think. So there, now I think we're done with the inside of the card. So then I'm just going to leave that open there. We need to work on what we have next is we want to get this banner done. So we have a piece of cardstock, and I am just going to trim it from one point, the center here, to the edge here. And I think it was a 1/2 inch in that we wanted to go. So I'm just going to make a mark there. And actually, let me check here. Yeah, I think it was a 1/2 inch. So let me go right here. I'm just going to put a little ticky mark there. Same thing down here. And then we want to cut this in half, or start from the point outward. And I don't remember what this was. So 3/4 is what we need to do from the center here. And our 2 half marks. And I just want to double check that. Yes, that's what we want. So I am just going to snip that end off. So now we have it at the right side, and then we just need to get our letters done on the inside of it. And I'm just going to quick erase our pencil marks. And so we need to spell out unique. So what I did is I had some of this adhesive sheets, and I put it on the back of this piece of paper here, and I'll show you how that does. So there's like 2-inch strips in here. If you grab, there's 3 2-inch strips here, and this is 12 inches long. So you could grab one whole strip here, but I just cut it down, and I have a little bit more to go right down here. So you just peel it off, and this is a glossy side. There's no stickiness to that. So you just want to use the sticky side, and you just lay it down here. Then you put this on here, and you run it through your die. And when you take it out, the whole thing comes out, and you just peel it with the, like I use my take your pick tool to get it in between the sticky sheet and the cardstock. And then you peel that, and hopefully you can get it better than I can. You peel all that off, and then you want to lay it down on where you want it to go. And I want to have this be off-centered of the white by 1/16 of an inch. So we'll do it, shift it to the right and down about that much of an inch. And this one didn't go down quite right, and it doesn't stick right away, so I can adjust it. So I'm going to go and do these letters real quick, and I'll come back, and then we can put them all on the card. So I've got them all put together. So what we want to do is we want to start them here and end about here. So I'm going to do this all in fast speed so that when I'm fussing with this to get it all straight, you don't have to sit there and watch me take all your time on that. So I will continue doing this. These are not Stampin' Up! Alphabets, but we do have the playful alphabets that are 3/4 inch in height, so those should work just as well. And next we're going to want to glue this onto the card about in the center, and so I'm going to pull out our mat and kind of give me an eyeball where the center is. And let's see, I need to know where the centers of this card is. And I want to leave about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom and 3/8 of an inch, so that we get everything centered 3/8 from an inch from the bottom and from the top. So this is about the center of the card. So I'm going to flip it over and glue that down. Let me get that back here. I need that. And this is just going to use the liquid glue again. Put 3/8. And that should be about right. And then we want to do our so proud to be section. And first we're going to take the black cardstock, and that is 3.5 inches by 1 inch. And so I'm going to put it in the pick portion of the banner's excuse me, banner Pick-a-Punch, the one that has the pointy tip. So I'm feeding it in as far as it'll go. I'm just turning it over because I want to get it kind of centered in the punch here. So that looks centered on both sides. So then I'm just going to squeeze it down. Then we do the same thing with the other side. Feed it in, and then eyeball it to get it into the center. And I'm pushing it halfway down, and it still looks centered, so now I'm going to push it the rest of the way. Then we'll do it with the green, the Granny Apple Green, and this punch will let me do that as well, because I can go 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and to 1 inch. And actually this is I think 3/4 of an inch. Nope, it's 7/8 of an inch by 3 3/8 of an inch. So I'm definitely going to have to manipulate this to get it in here, because it's not going to go in a channel, but I can just hold it and I'll put it down a little bit, and I can see that it's going to be punched in the center, and then I'll finish by squeezing it all the way. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Put it somewhat in the channel and flip it over, and then adjust it to get it toward the center, and that looks good. So I'm going to punch it the rest of the way. Then I'm going to glue this together, but first I want to just make sure that these are flat. Sometimes they have the little ridges on them. And by using the bone folder, I can flatten those tiny ridges out. So then I'm going to put that on there. It'll take, and then I will leave it 1/16 of an inch border around the edge of the card. To get that in there just a little bit better. Looks like I got ink all over me. So there, now that's all taken care of. So what we want to do next is put our words onto this card. What we want to do is get the meant to be, so just the to be, and then so proud to be. So we're going to use some tape to block that off. Hold on a second. So we've got our tape here. So I'm going to cover up all the other words on here. So we've got there. And then we'll go so you should only get the to be now. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've got one already made, so if this fails, we'll just move on. Because it did take me a couple tries to get mine to work. So I'm going to pull this tape off. And I'll tell you, I tried to line it up with the edge of this red rubber stamp on the edge of this cardstock, and then I tried to get the to be in the center there. And then for this one, so proud, so we've got just a view that we're covering up. And then we just try to center that over the to be. And let me get this tape off. The hard part is getting the tape off all the time. So I'm kind of lining up where the to be and the of you are. Not bad. And then you want to trim that down to 3/4 of an inch. So I would trim maybe just a sliver off the top and then the rest off the bottom. But since we already have one already done up, we'll use that. So here we go. So what we need to do is cut it on the tips off the end. So this should fit in that smaller track, and just push it all the way to the end. And I'm just going to go flip it over and make sure it's centered. And it is. So I'm going to snip that off. And then we're going to flip the other side. And make sure it's centered. and then we push the rest of the way down. And then I am going to clean these stamps before they set up on me. So next we want, this is to glue this down. And as you can tell, I've got some tubies on this other side where it was really toward the bottom of the cardstock. So that was a fail there, but when I turned it over, I was able to get it done properly. So and then next we want to get this on the top of the card. So let's get this glued. And I'm just going to eyeball it to have it be centered using this card below it, because, you know, it's maybe half an inch shorter than the other card. And then we want it to be 3/8 of an inch from the top of the card. So that'll work just like that. And I'm just going to use my bone folder here just to make sure we can get it down. And hopefully that's centered properly. All right, so now that we've got that all done, we've got to put our black sheep on the right. And we already have our dimensionals on the back, so let's pick your pick tool and pull those paper backings off. And I put 3 on there, and that should be plenty to keep it from getting mangled by the post office. And then we need to put our sheep on the left side. Now I have some individual sheeps like this one was done, but I want to show you how, if you wanted to do one sheep, how you would do that. Or one, this is all like on one pieces of paper. So let's just look at that. And I don't like how it looks on here, but I want to show you how to do this very quickly. And I'm not even going to bring the stamps in. So if you have, you want to think you're going to stamp the sheet that's closest to you first, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. But then you need to block them off with masking. So this is just sticky notes that I stamped on, and I stamped 3 of them so that I could do that. So you stamp your first sheep, then it looks like that. So you put your sticky note on him, and then you stamp your second sheep, and it looks like that. All right? Then you take your second sticky note, stamp your third sheet, and it looks like that. Take your third sticky note, And I added a little piece of tape because it was getting a little heavy there and I wasn't sure if it would stay in place. So then you stamp your last sheep, and then when you pull them all off, it looks like this. But we have decided not to do that on this card. We're just going to use the individual sheeps. So we've got this card here. So that kind of go in the reverse order. We put our first sheep down in the background. And he's going down with glue, liquid glue. Because he's going to be on the flattest part of the card. Then you take your second sheep. He's the one that's got his head popped out over here and kind of on the unique thing. And he goes down with glue as well. So then we have him popping out. But then the sheep that's going next to him, he's going to be put down with some a dot. And I'm going to move him over just a little bit. And since it was with this glue, it'll let me move him. So then we'll put this one down next. And we're going to use dots on him. And let me see, where do we want our dots to go? I think we'll just put some on. Put one on his head, one toward the bottom of his feet, one on the other side by his feet, and one on his buttocks. And then we'll have them up there. And then the last guy we'll put down here. And he will definitely be put on with glue dots. But the top portion I'm just going to glue down and have the bottom portion be with the glue dots. So let me do the top portion glue. Because he's going on to one that's already been raised just a little bit with glue dots. And then we will do the second one. And this one flipped over on me, so let me see if I can get it back up here. All right. There we go. I think we have both cards done now. Let me take a look at them. Yeah, I think they're done. I hope you liked this project as much as I did. As you can see, it would work with just about any stamp set that you'd want to use. I hope you give it a try. Let me know what sentiment you used by leaving it in the comments below. I'd love to know what you used. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, would you do me two favors? Click the thumbs up emoji. That means you like it. And will you share it on social media with your crafting friends and pin it to Pinterest? These actions will help me to share my ideas with other crafters for free, and I'd really appreciate that. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future videos. And if you have any questions, be sure to contact me. I'm here to help in any way that I can. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Just reach out to me. Now, if you'd like to place a Stampin' Up! Order or would like a catalog, hop over to my website where you'll find the Shop Now button. To shop with me, you'll need to go to joanheberlein.stampinup.net. Bear with me a little bit longer because I want to let you know of the promotions going on right now. Experience everything the autumn season has to offer with this month's paper pumpkin kit. Whether you're thinking about crisp red apples or you're ready to carve some spooky jack-o'-lanterns, or both, the Haunts and Harvest Paper Pumpkin Kit is a hands-on crafting experience for all autumn lovers. The kit contains enough supplies to create 12 treat boxes. Offers a versatile autumnal experience with the selection of treat box styles. Take your pick of apple, pumpkin, or jack-o'-lantern treat boxes. The paper pumpkin box is even designed to easily transform into a vintage wheelbarrow to display your harvest. The Haunts and Harvest Paper Pumpkin Kit runs from August 11th through September 10th. The July-December mini catalog is here. Sales run from August 3rd through January 3rd. It's your passport to stunning seasonal projects. It contains all the products you'll need to craft, create, and celebrate during Halloween, Christmas, and more. Are you ready to celebrate? Sale-a-bration is one of our biggest promotions of the year. Are you ready to celebrate? During the celebration, you can earn exclusive products for free. For every $50 you spend, you can add your pick of a celebration product to the cart at no additional cost. Sale runs August 3rd through September 30th. Mark your calendar. I'll be back Wednesday, August 25th, 7 p.m. Central Time for another counting sheet card, and I hope you'll be here to join me. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. I look forward to next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe.